Oxford's third annual bar crawl returns to the square tomorrow.
Coming up, find out which bars will be participating and how this event will benefit the American Cancer Society.
Many are excited about the awards given to the governmental documents here at the J.D. Williams Library. That's right tonight on NewsWatch Ole Miss. Affordable housing has come to Lafayette County. I'm Abbie McIntosh, and coming up, I'll let you know which one is being built right behind me.
Good evening, and thank you for tuning in to NewsWatch Ole Miss. I'm Grace McClanahan.
And I'm Bess Pavlakovich.
The Ole Miss Library has won first prize in a very prestigious contest.
NewsWatch reporter Hannah Huff reveals that the staff is excited because it might make students see the library in a new light.
The J.D. Williams Library has been recognized by the U.S. Government Publishing Office as the 2018 Federal Depository Library of the Year. With 1,400 depositories around the nation, Cecilia Botero, the Dean of Libraries, is excited about this accomplishment.
So every year the Federal Depository Program picks a Library of the Year based on the work they've done over the year. They're nominated. It's like 1,400 federal depository libraries. So we were chosen the best of that pool.
Workers in the library are hoping that this recent recognition will help bring more traffic into the library and show more people what is actually offered other than a place to study.
Hopefully it'll get the word out there that we have this here for people to use, for students when they're doing their research, for researchers. Many researchers use our collections because there's a lot of information there. For the citizens of the state of Mississippi, if there's anything they need to know, it's all here.
Many are excited about the award given to the governmental documents here on campus, especially those who spend hours in this library using them to benefit for their classes.
Oh yeah, I've been able to see them and look at them and use them a couple times, so it's nice to see Ole Miss get recognition for something so cool, so that's nice to see.
The depository does not only include displays, but maps, film, and any other federal information someone could possibly need. The information is accessible and free and can even be found online in some cases, if necessary. Hannah Huff, NewsWatch Ole Miss.
The library is the regional depository for Mississippi and holds the largest federal documents collection in the state. After years of trying to build affordable housing in Oxford, 2 new complexes are being built. NewsWatch reporter Abbie McIntosh is in the studio to let us know how this differs from low-income housing. Abbie?
Thanks, Grace. Winters Construction and Rosedale Corporation are currently building 2 multiplex townhomes for Oxford's workforce. The owner of the complexes tells me that people like nurses, firemen, and hospital workers will benefit from these homes.
Owner and developer of Bell Rivers in Eastover Homes, Stuart Rutledge, has tried for years to find a solution for workforce housing in Oxford. Rutledge says nothing has been built like these complexes before.
Lafayette County and Oxford specifically didn't have a lot of housing for the people who work in Lafayette County and Oxford.
Despite it being called affordable housing, Rutledge insists that these homes are different than low-income housing.
This is not lowest income housing, as they call it. This isn't Section 8 housing or USDA rural development. What I describe it as is moderately rent-restricted workforce housing.
As you can see behind me, construction on what will become Bell Rivers has started, and Adam Burnett of Winters Construction says that once they've broken ground, they have a year to complete the project.
We build at a very fast rate, and it doesn't compromise our quality in any way, but we stay on top of our schedule. So if all goes well, Bell River should be ready to occupy the end of June, 1st of July.
The units will only be available for people who make 60% of the area's media income. That's about $43,000. Rent each month will be about $700. Leasing is expected to open once the projects are a little further along.
It will be 1,400 square feet with 3 bedrooms and 2.5 baths with 2-car garages. Each community will also have a shared community building. Those wishing to apply will have to provide proof of income as well as other documents. Bess, back to you.
Thanks, Abbie. A Mississippi toddler was still alive when she was placed in a hot oven after being stabbed by her grandmother. 20-month-old Royalty Marie Floyd was found in the oven of a home in Shaw, Mississippi, which led to the arrest of her grandmother, Carolyn Jones. Jones has been charged with first-degree murder and is currently behind bars with a bond set at $500,000. A member of the presidential family is traveling to Mississippi tomorrow. Ivanka Trump is hosting an event to discuss the issues of early childhood development in the state. The affair will take place at the Lynn Meadows Discovery Center in Gulfport. Governor Phil Bryant tweeted, "We are excited to have Ivanka Trump in Mississippi this week to discuss the important issues of early childhood education and workforce training in Mississippi." U.S. Senator Cindy Hyde-Smith and Director of the Women's Bureau of the U.S. Department of Labor will attend as well.
The sanctions against the Forest Hill High School band have been upheld. The band was suspended following an insensitive halftime performance during their game at Brookhaven earlier this month. The performance involved band members dressed as police officers being held at gunpoint by other members just days after 2 Brookhaven officers were killed in the line of duty. The Mississippi High School Activities Association issued a penalty to the band, saying they could not perform on the field for the rest of the season. The school district appealed the penalty, but the MSHAA didn't budge. We want to remind you that the DEA's National Drug Take-Back Day is just 2 days away. For the first 8 years, the DEA has organized a day for collecting expired, unused, and unwanted prescription medications. The Take-Back Day this year is this Saturday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. DEA Special Agent Stephen Asman says this day is so important because of the opioid epidemic in our country, with prescription drugs most often obtained from friends and family's pills left in medicine cabinets. There will be 42 drop-off locations across Mississippi that will accept prescriptions of any kind.
It's nearing the end of Breast Cancer Awareness Month, but not the end of spreading awareness. NewsWatch reporter Josh Zaragoza tells us how one campus organization is raising money for this cause.
The third annual bar crawl is tomorrow night on the square, and Public Relations Chair of Colleges Against Cancer, Jennifer Ventura, says all the money will go towards breast cancer research.
Breast cancer is a really important thing to fundraise money for. We try to do at least one event per semester. We try to do as many as we can.
Ventura says college students visit bars often, and the bar crawl is an easy way to get participants to support the cause.
We know that students don't always want to participate in philanthropy events, and we figured this was a really fun way to get students involved. I know that we already have a ton of involvement from people because they just think it's such a fun idea.
I'm here on campus, and sophomore Margaret Dent says that the bar crawl is a fun event for a special cause.
Including college students in the bar scene, which they love, and getting them to pay to go and pay for drinks and all that going to breast cancer awareness is great.
Ventura says this event is inclusive and students can participate by simply signing up and paying the $25 registration fee.
I think it'll be super inclusive, and I know that a lot of club sports and a lot of fraternities and sororities wanted their littles and wanted their new pledge classes to participate, so I think it'll be really fun because you can get the younger students involved.
Ventura is expecting a positive turnout for the bar crawl and wants it to continue for years to come. Josh Zaragoza, NewsWatch Ole Miss.
While the university has many clubs, some are on a mission to go above and beyond.
NewsWatch reporter Brianna Flores tells us how one new club is helping babies at a local hospital.
Last week, Ole Miss welcomed the Knitting Club to campus, which works to make an impact outside of the Oxford community. Knitting Club President Sadie Rich was inspired by a friend who told her about knitting clothes for children's hospitals. Rich used this idea to team up with her best friend Maggie McDonald, who had knitting experience.
During our work week for recruitment, we had a lot of downtime, and a lot of people kept asking me about, like, oh, how do you know how to knit? So I thought of starting a knitting club, and Sadie had the idea to make it more philanthropic.
The club works to knit hats like this one for premature babies at Batson Children's Hospital in Jackson, Mississippi.
The club will deliver at least 50 hats to the hospital over the university's Thanksgiving break. They hope the hats are meaningful to the babies and their families for years to come.
I didn't set up the club to be conjoined with the hospital. I set up the club and then the goods will get donated.
Sophomore Michaela Griffin and other new members can expect a different experience than that of other campus clubs.
I wanted to join Knitting Club because I thought it'd be really cool to give back to the community in a different way. And I don't know how to knit, so learning how to do that is also really cool.
The Knitting Club meets weekly on Thursdays in Bryant Hall and is looking for motivated members interested in making a difference in the community. Brianna Flores, NewsWatch Ole Miss.
Coming up, find out the suspicious packages sent to well-known Democratic leaders and what law enforcement officials are saying about them.
And stay tuned to see what bill President Trump signed today and how it addresses a major health epidemic. But first, Camryn Sidley has your first look at your weather headlines.
Hey Rebels, happy Wednesday. As we take a look at our current weather headlines, you can see we do have a chance of rain tonight. High humidity will continue throughout the week, and we will see some cool temperatures throughout the week. As we take a look at our radar image, you can see no clouds over Oxford right now, but that won't be the case later tonight. Coming up on Stormwatch, I'll tell you everything you need for the rest of the week.
What do you think you're doing, Kevin?
Was just gonna drive home.
There are several warning signs present that you shouldn't be driving.
Like hearing voices?
Like your text-to-emoji ratio?
Oh man, the selfies.
Selfie, nailed it. We all have warning signs that let us know that we're probably not okay to drive. Mine is pretending to be your subconscious.
Craig, come on man, let's split a ride home.
So, I'm kinda new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. It's like, hello, that's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move, so I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day, I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
I, Krista, take you, Jamie, to be my wife. When we found out that we were pregnant, we were just elated. We were just sitting there waiting for the pediatrician. She said she won't be taking you in as a client.
We are a lesbian couple, but she's just a baby. She's the one you're denying the service to.
A number of suspected explosive packages addressed to President Obama, Hillary Clinton, other prominent Democrats, and a Trump critic have been intercepted in the last few days. A law enforcement official says the devices appear to be basic but functional.
Responding officers identified a device that appeared to be a live explosive device.
A number of suspicious packages sent to high-profile targets have sparked fears of a potential coordinated attack. Authorities say improvised explosive devices addressed to former President Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton, and former Attorney General Eric Holder have been intercepted. Also earlier today, a package with an explosive device and white powder arrived at the mailroom of the Time Warner Center building.
What we saw here today was an effort to terrorize. This clearly is an act of terror, attempting to undermine our free press and leaders of this country through acts of violence.
That package was addressed to former CIA Director John Brennan. A similar device was also sent to the home of billionaire investor and major Democratic donor George Soros earlier this week. President Trump has been monitoring the developments from the White House with his top aides.
Acts or threats of political violence of any kind have no place in the United States of America.
A law enforcement official says that all of the devices appear to be constructed similarly. At least one of them contained projectiles with shards of glass. The source says the devices were functional.
We've seen this before, and we've seen worse, and we will not be intimidated, and we will bring these perpetrators to justice.
We're learning that Democratic Representative Maxine Waters was the intended recipient of a suspicious package. It was discovered at a congressional mail sorting facility outside of Washington. Investigators believe the package could be linked to the other bombs. The Saudi Crown Prince is speaking publicly for the first time since the death of Saudi journalist Jamal Khashoggi.
It was unnecessary. Saudi Arabia will go and implement all necessary rules and investigate deeply in order to achieve results and to bring to justice those who were responsible for this heinous crime.
The Saudi Crown Prince's latest comments mark the most extensive public statement he has made since the death of Khashoggi. There has been widespread suspicion that Mohammed played a role in the death because Khashoggi was an open critic of his. He maintains that he had no involvement in the journalist's death and that his country will bring those responsible to justice. President Trump signed a bipartisan bill into law today. The Support for Patients and Communities Act is bipartisan legislation intended to address the country's growing opioid crisis and hopefully reduce overdose deaths. The act has multiple provisions designed to prevent opioid abuse and expand access to treatment for opioid use disorder. The bill creates reform for both Medicare and Medicaid when it comes to access to treatment. The hope is that these changes will be a step towards curbing this serious public health problem.
It's finally over, and a lucky ticket holder in South Carolina has won the largest lottery jackpot in U.S. history. Mega Millions confirmed that there was one winner for the prize worth nearly $1.6 billion. The odds of choosing the winning jackpot numbers were said to be 1 in more than 300 million. The winner now gets to decide to take a cash payout of $913 million after tax, or opt to have it paid out installments over the course of 29 years. The name of the winner could remain a mystery, though. South Carolina is one of the 8 states where winners can keep their anonymity. Hurricane Willa made landfall this morning on the western coast of Mexico, and the powerful storm surge is threatening for both Mexico and the United States. Willa is not only bringing life-threatening storm surges, rain, and wind to the Mexico's Pacific shore, but it will also be a rainmaker once it crosses the border. Willa is forecast to dump up to 4 inches of rain in parts of Texas, threatening more than 4.4 million Texans. The storm is then expected to move into the southeast, dumping 1 to 2 inches of rain in the Gulf Coast area. Once Willa reaches colder air, it is expected to turn into a nor'easter that may threaten the northeast.
Well, Anna Bess, I hope that Willa goes easy on everyone and that this might mark the end of the hurricane season.
I totally agree, Grace. Coming up in her extended forecast, Camryn Sidley will let us know if we can expect more nice fall days like this or rain from Willa.
Listen, you're my friend.
I noticed you haven't really been yourself recently.
Yeah, I feel like something's up.
How are you?
Are you okay?
Is there anything you want to talk about?
I just want to know how you're feeling.
And listen, even if you don't know what to say, I'm here to talk.
No matter what you're going through,
I just want you to know I'm here.
I've got your back. When you want to talk, I'm here.
Leah, did you put a new dent in that?
This one? No.
Were you texting and driving again?
Yes.
Hi, Leah.
Hi, Dad.
Sorry about your bumper.
Disaster tips from the objects left behind.
My home wasn't insured, but you can check your insurance policy now to make sure you're covered. Oh.
My savings are lost, but you can put money aside and plan for unexpected disaster costs.
We're lost forever, but you can scan important documents now so they survive.
Whoa.
For more tips on how to prepare, visit ready.gov.
Hey Rebels, happy Wednesday. It's finally starting to feel like fall in Oxford, and I'm really excited about that. As we take a look at our current temperatures, 67 degrees right now, and there's not much clouds over Oxford. It's looking pretty good, but we will see some rain tonight. As we take a look at our
current temperatures all over Mississippi right now. You can see we have South Haven at 65, Holly Springs and Corinth at 66, Oxford at 67, and Tupelo at 70. As we look at tomorrow's temperatures, it will drop down quite a bit. Again, we will see some rain tomorrow. We have 56 in South Haven, Holly Springs, and Oxford, 58 in Corinth, and 57 in Tupelo. As we take a look at tonight's temperatures, it's going to drop down to 51 degrees. We will see some light rain, so if you're heading out tonight, you definitely want to grab a jacket and an umbrella. As we take a look at tomorrow's forecast, again, it's going to be 56 degrees. We will see some rain with an 80% chance and some slight winds coming from the east. As we move on to our 5-day forecast, you can see we have Friday at 57, Saturday at 64, Sunday at 68, Monday at 60, and Tuesday at 64. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Camryn. Former Ole Miss quarterback Chad Kelly was not charged for his trespassing charge on Monday, but find out what his team decided on his future.
And see which Ole Miss senior for the soccer team got recognized for their work in their community. Up next in Sports Watch.
Don't ignore the subtext. It's on us to intervene in sexual assault. Because we can. Take the pledge at itsonus.org.
There was an old woman who lived in a shoe. She had so many children, she didn't know what to do. She gave them some broth without any bread and kissed them all soundly and put them to bed. Hunger is a story we can end. End it at feedingamerica.org.
Action!
You think getting dumped by text is harsh? Try getting dumped by a tennis ball. My ex-owner drove me out to the woods, yelled fetch, and by the time I bought the ball back, he was gone. Yeah, I was pissed. But the folks at the shelter helped me let go of my anger. I learned coping skills, like taking it to the hole. Boom! Now I'm ready to fetch again. But how about I throw and you run and get it?
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Sports Watch. I'm AJ Norwood. Former Ole Miss quarterback Chad Kelly was released by the Denver Broncos this morning. The 2017 7th-round pick was released by the team after being arrested for criminal trespassing just yesterday. The former Ole Miss standout also attended a team Halloween party hosted by Von Miller, where several players reported that Kelly was at one point asked to leave for acting up. Kelly made a brief court appearance this morning, where his next court date is set for November the 8th. The University of Mississippi's Office of General Counsel is welcoming a new face in Paul McCarthy. McCarthy has been named Athletics Compliance Officer and Senior Associate General Counsel. In the newly created role, the UConn graduate will provide oversight and leadership for all compliance efforts, risk management, and legal matters related to Ole Miss athletics. Chancellor Vitter says the Ole Miss family is very pleased to welcome McCarthy and that the new position will play a central role in keeping athletics compliance and integrity at the forefront of Ole Miss. Now for news on the soccer pitch, Rebel midfielder Marissa Kuchma was named to the 2018 Community Service Team on Tuesday. Kuchma is one among 14 players recognized by the league. The Community Service Team looks to spotlight an athlete from each school who demonstrates superior service efforts in their community. Kuchma is a future medical student who has volunteered over 250 hours at 2 hospitals in St. Louis. The Missouri native has also partnered with a local rec soccer league to help give guidance to the youth in the area. Last night, the Boston Red Sox defeated the LA Dodgers 8-4 in Game 1 of the 2018 World Series. A fifth-inning base hit by Rafael Devers allowed the Red Sox to inch even further in front of the Dodgers to take a 5-3 lead. Eduardo Nunez came up clutch in the seventh inning when he absolutely smoked a pinch-hit three-run home run to ice the game for Boston. Nunez became the first player to hit a pinch-hit homer in the World Series in nearly a decade. Mookie Bess was also clutch as he was able to steal a base and earn everyone free tacos on November 1st from Taco Bell. The teams will be back on the diamond again tonight at 7:09 p.m. on Fox Network. That's all I have for you today in sports. Be sure to follow us at NewsWatch_UM to stay up to date with all things sports. Grace, Anna, Bess, back to you.
Thanks, AJ. Up next, see the justice one judge served up at a Washington courthouse.
Stay tuned to see how he let two suspects know their rights to remain in the courtroom.
Here is my handle and here is my spout.
When I get all steamed up, then I shout,
tip me over and pour me out. Oh.
It only takes a moment to make a moment.
Cheers.
Take time to be a dad today.
We are Ole Miss Rebels. As Mississippi's flagship university, we dig deeper, see farther, work harder. We pioneered human organ transplants. We helped prove Einstein's theory of gravitational waves. We are distinguished as a Carnegie R1 top 2.5% research institution. We are Ole Miss, transforming lives and the world.
When I was your age, I was just like you, fascinated by stars. But now I get to search for life in the universe. And who knows, maybe life is looking for us too.
So we're like aliens to them?
Yeah. Does anyone want to be a scientist now?
I do.
Awesome. We need more girls in STEM.
Maybe we can find aliens.
This year, patriotism shouldn't just be about pride of country. It should be about love. Remember that to love America is to love all Americans. Because love has no labels.
Here is my handle and here is my spout.
When I get all steamed up, then I shout,
tip me over and pour me out. Oh.
It only takes a moment to make a moment.
Cheers.
Take time to be a dad today.
A Washington state judge ditched his robe and leaped into action when a pair of inmates tried to escape from the courthouse, and it was all caught on camera. A pair of suspects who thought they could escape from a Washington courtroom weren't counting on one thing: the judge running after them.
After a hearing, Judge R.W. Buzzard ordered two inmates back to jail, but they had other plans: to bolt for the door. Judge Buzzard quickly ditched his robe and took off after the inmates. Both men were eventually taken back into custody, and Buzzard is back on the bench. Man, that is one crazy story.
I mean, unbelievable. You know, Camryn, speaking of running, if I'm going on a run tomorrow in Oxford, what should I be wearing?
You know, we will see rain on and off throughout the week, so you definitely want to be prepared to wear a jacket and bring an umbrella. So.
All right, awesome. Thank you, Camryn. And that's all we have for tonight. Thank you for tuning in to NewsWatch Ole Miss. I'm Grace McClanahan.
Be sure to join us here again tomorrow night at 5 and on NewsWatchOleMiss.com. I'm Bess Pavlakovich. Thank you and good night.